Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the Big Movement Podcast. Today we have a special guest. We have Kelly Mirabella, who is a social media trainer and consultant and manager helping busy professionals with their social media marketing for over 9 years. So we're going to dive right in and get to work and learn how Kelly helps people improve their visibility online. So Kelly, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, Byron. It's just wonderful to get on and chat with you today.
Oh, sure, definitely. So how did you get into this world of social media marketing instead of like how a lot of people do? It's like, well, I'm just posting things and I just decided to do it for other people.
No, well, it's funny because I say I've been doing this for 9 years and not a lot of people have been doing real social media marketing for 9 years. And it all started because I got into, after college, I have a degree in marketing and business. I got into new home sales. And then the market crashed, if you remember, in 2008 here in the United States. And I actually switched jobs. I went back to marketing, but I worked for a home builder. And when the salespeople were having, sick days or they went on vacation, they would put me in the sales office because of my experience in new home sales. And it was just dead slow. I mean, nothing to do. So I decided in my boredom, if you will, to go around and take pictures of the communities and of the homes and create slideshows using YouTube, and I created a Facebook page. This is when no business was using, maybe Dell. I think Dell and American Express were the first two big businesses, but no one, especially in the small business sector, was doing this. And I put them on the map in the local area down there, and we started drawing in people looking for the different home builders. We brought in a lot of real estate agents through social media, and we started selling homes. And so I thought, wow, this is something. So I started to teach social media on behalf of the home builder to real estate agents as an outreach, bringing value to the community. And then I started doing a little bit of side consulting to supplement my income, and it just kind of took off from there. It's something I've always really enjoyed. And where some people might enjoy the social media aspect, I enjoy the business side of social media. So I'm kind of addicted. I'm on Facebook nonstop. In fact, I'm suffering from tendonitis in my wrist right now because I cannot get off.
Oh, no. That's a little hardcore.
Yeah, it's an addiction. I need help.
We're going to go through the 12-step plan to detox your life from social media.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, so it sounds like you have quite the interesting background there to dive in, because you figured out something that was there in terms of that opportunity, which is ultimately the reason why people need to use social media, is so they can get in front of their ideal clients and customers.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be in college during this time when social media really came to. Facebook came around when I was in college, so I was one of the very first people to sign up, because back then you had to have an EDU email address, to get in. And I was on MySpace, Early Adapter. We had Napster and chat boards, and this was kind of the college way of life back then. And so when I got out, it was a place where I was already kind of a native user. I was already comfortable. So it was just kind of, one of those things where fate took control and everything kind of aligned, and it ended up working out for business. And fortunately it did, because it really launched my path to entrepreneurship, which is the best path I've ever been on. I'm so in love with being my own boss. But it's been a really cool tool and something for me to experiment with. And the really beautiful thing is not only help me build my business, but also the business of people that I help manage and consult.
Oh, that's excellent. So now then, how did it lead into you becoming an entrepreneur after the home sales? Because I think so many people, that's where they're stuck at. They understand principles and like, I know what I need to do, but then there's that leap where they're going from, I have the safety and security of this big company to, it's all me now.
Hey, I totally get that. You know, being an entrepreneur is not easy, especially those first couple years. In fact, I worked for a home builder where I was really unhappy in my job. And it took my then boyfriend, now husband, asking me to come up and live with him in Denver. I was in Colorado Springs, where I was finally like, okay, I'm going to jump out of this job. But then I just jumped into another corporate job. And it took me 2 years working there and then getting laid off. And then having my husband say, hey, you've been talking about doing this for yourself for so long. Let's do it. I will support you and you just do it. And so I had the benefit of having my husband there to, pay our bills. And it was not easy. I mean, we struggled, but I think it also fired me up too, because I knew the sacrifices he was making for me. And so I used to work, and here's the thing. This is so important to understand as an entrepreneur, no matter what you do, is that you hear all these people are like overnight success. There is no such thing as overnight success. I used to take on any job I could to pay the bills. I would post things on listings on Craigslist for $1 a post. I would just do these like the craziest, cheapest work just so I could pay my phone bill at the end of every month. And that went on for at least 1.5 years before I started getting more consistent work in the social media realm, keeping in mind that social media no one was using it. So it was very hard to get jobs back then because no one saw the value in it then. And, I think the thing here to understand is you see people like me and you see people like the big names out there of entrepreneurs and you think, oh, overnight success, it's so easy for them to get their, 6 figures or whatever they're touting. And I just want to let people know that the struggle is real and I understand it. But if you want it hard enough, you've got to work your butt off and you have to apply the time. I put in, maybe 18 to 25 hours a week now, and I make more money than the top tier of my corporate counterpart would. So I have turned down a ton of jobs in corporate world because they can't pay me what I can make doing 25 hours a week. But let it be known, back then, for the first 4 years, I was working 100 hours a week hustling to make it happen. So, I get it. It's hard, but if you want something enough and you have the drive, and if you're fortunate enough, like I was, to have someone who had your back, because no one else had my back but my husband. Everyone else doubted me, but he was always that person who was like, you got to do this. Then you can really find a lot of success. And, honestly, and most, I think, entrepreneurs will tell you this, it takes about 3 to 4 years to get to a place where you're actually comfortable in your own business. And I think that's the majority of entrepreneurs who've been around the block a while will tell you that.
Oh, definitely. And, you mentioned something that's so critical, that overnight success principle, because you see people out there that are marketing courses, things, oh, you can have success right away, but they don't understand the struggle that most people go through.
Yeah, and I try to be really open about that. I've written a lot of blogs. I do a lot of live broadcasts with the people that I work with and my followers. I have a lot of mentees who are just getting into the social media business, and I'm there to support them because I understand that struggle is real. But understand that, first of all, there are no overnight successes. We covered that. And then second of all, it's important that you have the drive to push through and keep going, because you're going to have downfalls and you're going to need to push through. But when you do, it gets so much better. You just have to work at it. And then finally, I think it's important to understand that everybody's idea of success is different. So don't feel like because you don't make 6 figures or 7 figures, whatever that, the entrepreneur of the hour is touting, it doesn't mean you're not successful. When I started my business, my goal was that I could be at home with my kids and still make as much money as I did in corporate America. Well, I make more money than I did back when I was in corporate America, and I have plenty of time to be with my kids. So my goal is, I am successful in that. Now I have new goals now, but understand that everybody's idea of success is different. You need to know what your idea is. What is your why? Why are you wanting to be an entrepreneur? That's going to help push you forward more than I think just this idea of like overnight success and 7-figure. If you're looking for that, you're in the wrong business. You should go back to working for someone else.
Right, because the one thing that's in common, if you look at it, for most successful entrepreneurs, is that they're looking at how can they influence more people. And that's the bottom line, that the money comes along with it. When you see people that are focusing in on, oh, I'm going to help you sell all this, well, that's the wrong way of doing it. Focus on the life that you want to live. What's going to create that for you? Then you can attract the people that will follow you.
Absolutely. And the people that I look up to, that I see in the marketplace that are really killing it, they're doing an awesome job. They are service providers. As in, they're not out there selling all their services all the time. They're trying to serve others. They're bringing value to the marketplace. And those are the people I see as the ones who are the most successful in the online world, especially, but getting out there and helping other people, and not necessarily always pitching and selling like I think a lot of people try first. First, you have to build in the value. First, you have to prove yourself as a trustworthy source and someone who is worth listening to. And then you can, once you've built know, like, trust relationships, people are okay with buying from you.
Right, exactly. And that's where it begins at, is the trust factor. And that's the core component of using social media. It's because you now have the ability to build a relationship with people where in the past you didn't have that flexibility, where you get to know someone's family and so forth, like going, you know what, I really connect with this person, instead of, well, this ad looks good, I guess this will work.
Right? Exactly. It's all about building those relationships. And although, advertising is still important and marketing, obviously it's what I do for a living, I would have to say that the majority of I could tell you 100% of my social media management clients come from referrals. They come from the relationships I build. So the core of my money, my income, comes because of the service that in terms of serving other people, building relationships, and having power partnerships. Everything else that comes from my marketing and my e-courses, that's more for me, that's more fun. It's stuff I like to play with. It's stuff I like to have fun. It's a way for me to bring more value to my people. But the relationship is really where the money's at, honestly.
Right. Oh, definitely. And that's really the key to it. You have to focus in on the relationships around you, because that's what's going to feed you for a lifetime. Because that one relationship, when you treat it and you nurture it's going to lead to their sphere of influence, where they're going to say, you know what, this other person needs your help. And then it just keeps cascading after that.
Exactly. And I love what you said about nurturing, because that's what I tell people all the time, is go and sow the seeds. Those all things being equal, people do business with and they refer business to people they know, like, and trust. And those relationships, that's a long-term strategy. If you want to be in business as an entrepreneur or a business owner long-term, you need to have a short-term strategy and a long-term strategy. Long-term strategy is probably the most important, because that's what's going to get you through. Like you said, you got to continue to nurture those things. You got to plant those seeds, and that way down the road they're blooming and you can harvest those relationships, if you will. So I really truly believe in that long-term strategy.
Oh, totally. That's the way I like to look at it, is you build things for the long term. And it's the difference between a hunting mentality and then a farming mentality. If you think with in terms of hunting, if you're looking at society when it was more a hunter-gatherer type of mentality, people would have to go and they have to follow where the herds were and so forth, and they have to hope they're going to be there. And if they weren't there, well, times were a little bit leaner, because you were relying on that source. And if it dried up, oh darn, you're kind of out of trouble. You had to go find another one. Versus farming it, well, you're nurturing it, you're growing it, you're taking care of the fields, and then you have this harvest year after year that continuously replenishes itself. And that's what you have to look at, is how can you build that farm of people, that community of people that know, like, and trust you, that you can tap into over and over, because they want more from you, because you are helping them, you're empowering them to achieve their goals in their businesses.
Absolutely. That is the recipe for success in entrepreneurship, truly.
Oh, totally. It's just we have to get more people to leave the mindset of, I'm going to sell blank today, instead of, I'm going to help X amount of people today.
Right. And I think even when we talk, so we have the long-term strategy, the relationships, even when we talk short-term strategy, you just hit it on the nail on the head. You said, today I'm going to wake up and I'm going to sell this. But you still need a strategy. That's where marketing and business strategy comes in. You're not going to find success just throwing spaghetti on the wall and hoping something sticks. Even in your short-term sales strategies, you still need to have an idea of who's my ideal client, what's my end goal, and what is the best way of getting to my end goal without constantly plastering, spam on someone's Facebook wall.
Right. And it's amazing when you look at how many people do that. Like, oh gosh, can you please stop trying to sell? No one's going to want to buy. Like, ugh.
Right. Yeah, it's an icky feeling to be sold to. And here's the thing. Nobody likes being sold to. Nobody likes being pitched. But people love buying stuff. I mean, I'm over buying lipstick from my local unique presenter all the time because I just like watching her cool videos, and she's a fantastic person that has built a relationship with me. But if she was sitting there like the typical network marketer posting her latest sale and that's it, and not trying to build a relationship and just, looking kind of desperate, I would not buy a thing.
Right, exactly. That's the key thing you said there in terms of desperate. There's a lot of people who have that desperate commission breath mentality. Like, I must make the sale, and you can sense it from a mile away. It's like, oh, you're creeping me out, buddy. Right? Get away.
Exactly. It's like the car sale, the old like dirty car salesman trick.
All right, like, okay, yeah, I'm not buying that. It looks like it's a car, but it's really a beer can with 4 wheels on it. No thanks.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, you got to respect yourself. You got to respect your audience, and you have to respect the stuff you're selling. And if you just pushing it out there, looking desperate, what have you, no one's going to respect any of it.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. Now, you mentioned in terms of those 3 key areas when you talk about who is your ideal client, what's the end goal, and then what's the best way to reaching them. What is it that people should look for in their ideal client? Like, what's a critical thing there?
I think we've heard over the last couple of years, you may have heard this buzzword, authenticity. It's one of my favorite buzzwords because I truly believe in it. And when you're talking about being authentic and getting out there and being yourself, what we're talking about is really when you meet me offline, I'm the same as I am online. And why is that important when it comes to this question you posed about ideal clients? Is that when you are yourself, you will draw the people who will be the best fit for what you have. So the first key to that is understanding who you are in the marketplace and who you want to portray. I mean, you want to portray yourself. You want to be your most authentic person, and trying not to please everyone, because when you try to please everyone, then you're not truly yourself and you're not bringing in ideal clients. You're bringing in clients that, maybe will give you more heartache than love, if you will. So understand you need to be yourself first and be authentic. Then understand who is my ideal client. Well, your ideal clients can be different from my ideal client. So what I usually recommend people doing is thinking about one person. And you can have more than one, client type, but let's start with one and think about one person. Picture in your head a person, an actual person. Who is that client? What do they look like? What are the things that they enjoy? Where do they like to go? What do they like to eat? What are their interests? How do the things that you provide help solve problems that they might have? How can you serve them? How can you bring value to them outside of just the sales products that you have? And once you can start picturing that, you can start using that personality and figuring out what are their problems, what are their pain points, and what do I have, whether it's by the value that I bring or by the products and services that I provide that solve those problems. And there is where the gold is. If you can figure those things out, you're going to have a lot easier time than trying to just please everyone. I'll give you a quick example. I do a lot of networking in real life.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would go to these networking events, and, that you'd always have people do their 30-second spiel and, this is who I help. And the ones that always cracked me up are the people who sold like skincare. And they would say, if you have skin, you should come talk to me. Well, everyone has skin, but not everyone is going to be the ideal client for your product. What if instead they said something like, if you know you or yourself, or you know someone who just had a baby, babies have extra sensitive skin, and we have the perfect product that is just amazing for baby sensitive skin. So come talk to me. Then what happens is people think, oh gosh, I know someone who has a baby that might like them. I'm gonna go chat with that person. Because there's actually a science behind this. If we broaden our message too much and we ask people, hey, do you know anyone who has skin? Or do you know anyone who wants to buy a house? You know, whatever that is, then they block off. There's too many numbers, too many people that fit in that. Right. But if we narrow it down for them, do you know anyone who just had a baby? You could think of like 1 or 2 people. Yeah, I do. And then immediately they're more likely to come to you with those people. So understanding who your ideal clients are and kind of niching them out is going to bode well for you in all aspects of your business.
Oh, totally. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I could think of how many times I would be at networking events and I'd hear the exact thing. So it's just, my ideal client is someone with skin, and inside my mind, I just wanted to shout and say, so you want the entire human race to be referred to you. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm sure they would. They're like, I'll help anybody. Of course, because that makes you sound, again, back to desperation. It reeks off of you. So let's get smart about who we're targeting, because then we can truly start helping people. And then also, because we understand, we start talking to those people. When we can speak, we can personalize our message, and we can segment our list and our marketing messages. That is truly a powerful thing. And it's becoming more and more important as we hear things like big data and segmentation and personalization. Those are real things that are now becoming the norm because they work.
Right. Exactly. That is so important that you mentioned the segmentation, because so many times people don't understand that in today's world, you don't have to, and you don't want to talk to everybody as they're the same. You want to treat everybody as they're on a journey. I like to think of it, if you're having people read a book, you wouldn't just go ahead and tell them what's on the last page of the book and they haven't even finished the second chapter. It's like, well, I guess I don't need to read the rest of the book now. You ruined it. So you have to put them on that journey. Spoiler. Right. Like, thanks, save me a lot of time, bastard. So you have to put them on a journey, because then it builds a rapport and relationship, and then they want more from you.
Yes, absolutely. And it all goes back to, if you can speak to that individual person, if you can personalize that message, again, you are going to build know, like, trust relationships. And they will be more likely to not only become customers, but what we call raving fans, which mean they are going out and raving about you to all their friends and connections, thus increasing the chance of you selling more.
Right, exactly. Because that really goes into understanding what the end goal is. Because if you're going to get them on this journey, you have to know where you want to take them to. That's where so many people, they don't know. Like, oh, I just want to have them follow me. Why? What's the purpose?
What are you trying to do here?
Right, like, okay, you're building a following. Great. So you're just like going to walk around in circles for no reason? Congratulations.
Yeah, it actually amazes me so much how many small business owners and entrepreneurs go into business thinking, I'm just gonna sell things. I'm just gonna get into it, and not having a business plan. Like, you know how these large corporations became successful is because they took the time to put together a strategy, put together a business plan. And I'm not saying you all have to sit down and write a whole report, but you need to have an idea of what you're doing. Like, why are you doing these things? Because again, you're just throwing spaghetti on the wall. That's no way to market. That's no way to run your business.
Right. It's exactly. And when it comes to business plans, what I love to tell people, like clients, you're not making these big, long, drawn out things, because the vast majority of them go unread. You put it on one page. If it doesn't fit on one page, you're probably not going to do it.
Right. Exactly.
You just keep it simple. Like, here's your action steps of what you want to accomplish and how you're going to get there. Now go do it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like bullet points and checklists. So that's definitely my style. In fact, everything I do has some kind of strategy behind it. I do a lot of live broadcasting on Facebook, for instance. That's one of my specialties. And I have people ask me all the time, Kelly, sometimes you broadcast in your private group, and sometimes you broadcast on your page, and sometimes you broadcast on your profile. Why do you do that? And I actually do have a reason why certain topics or discussion points, or why I would, do my broadcast in my group versus my profile versus my page. I don't just jump on for the sake of just jumping on. There is always a reason behind what I do. And it surprises people because they don't realize that sometimes I do these very simple things, but I have a whole strategy and a long-term, plan for those postings or those live broadcasts.
Right. I think where people don't sometimes realize is that you have different audiences and you want to get that engagement there, so people are seeing different sides of it. Where on your page it might be more professional, more straightforward, but then on your personal profile you might be more raw and authentic, where you wouldn't want certain people to see that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, everybody should have their own reasons. And I just think that if you're going to do anything for business, you need to have a reason. Don't just... This is a problem that I had for a long time, by the way. I'm not just preaching to the choir saying, I'm not just saying to people, do this, and I didn't do it myself. This was a problem I had for a long time, is I would just say, one day I'm like, oh, I need more sales. I'm just going to, build out a quick e-course and throw it out there and sell it. And I wouldn't have any strategy behind it. I wouldn't, gauge what my audience actually needs. I have done so many trainings where it wasn't even something people needed or wanted. I've done so many things where it was something they needed or wanted, but I didn't give myself enough time to properly market it. So only 5 people showed up, so you have to slow down. And that's something I personally have to work on myself, which is why I want to teach other people that. Slow down and look at the big picture. You'll have much better success if you can look from beginning to end. Why am I doing this? How does this serve people? What is the best way to reach those people? Who are the best people for this? Have a full goal.
Right, exactly. You have to look at those things. It makes a tremendous difference when you know what you're putting together, something that you wanted. And now you had mentioned that you had put together a boot camp. How did you come up with the idea that you wanted to do a boot camp out of all the different things that you could have done?
Well, it's actually interesting because it started with me throwing together something for a completely different topic. Back in October, I did a second launch of my Facebook Live e-course. And it was one of those things where I just kind of threw it together. I mean, I already had the e-course, but the launch I just threw together really quick. And it wasn't going so well. I wonder why, because I just threw it out there. And so I thought, I got to do something. So I'm going to put together a challenge to go along with it. So it was a video confidence challenge, because I was asking people, why aren't you live broadcasting? I actually had the initiative to ask the right question. And people said video confidence. So I threw together this challenge and it did okay. And it helped me sell some stuff. And I thought, there's something here. Well, at the same time, I was out there in the marketplace, and I saw, or on Facebook, and I saw an ad for Zach Spunkler, who does a really fantastic 5-day boot camp e-course. And I thought, gosh, perfect timing. I want to learn more about this because I see that this is going to be beneficial. So I bought his course in December. I took all the classes. I did my first 5-day boot camp, redid the video confidence thing last month. And it did pretty well. But then over the course of taking the class and putting together that challenge, I saw a lot of people asking, how do I get more leads? And a lot of ads about lead funnels. And a lot of people are talking about lead funnels. But it's overcomplicated to a lot of beginners, I think. So I thought I could break that down. I have so many lead funnels, you guys. I have so many lead magnets and free offers and landing pages. I'm probably near 40 at this point that are active. So I thought, gosh, I do these all the time. I could put together a challenge and help people do this. So I built out this 5-day free email marketing bootcamp. It teaches people how to create a lead magnet, how to create a landing page, and how to create a 3-part email sequence. It's actually going as we're recording this podcast right now. So it's already over. But because I took the time, it actually took me 2 months to really, and I obviously not accounting the class I took to learn all these great things, these steps. It took me about 2 months to build it out properly, make sure all the emails were set up, make sure my ads were correct, because I did a lot of different types of Facebook advertising, reach out to power partners to see if they would share. I got a sponsor and got some shares. So I have, as of today, which is as of this recording, the first day of my boot camp, I have about 250 people signed up. And hopefully, usually you see about a 50% attrition with online stuff. So we're going to probably see about 125 people go through it. And so I'm able to do a lot of things with this. I'm able to, be in front of a lot of people, showcase my expertise, build relationships by bringing, it's all free. It's a free value I bring. I'm able to build my email list so I can continue to nurture those people down the road. And eventually, the proof is in the pudding. People who are warm contacts of yours, who are in your tribe, if you will, on your email list that you've nurtured, they're more likely to buy your bigger ticket items. And then I'm able to also sell some things along the way that might help benefit people, and it makes sense to what I'm doing. So it's been a really fun experience, but I think the big difference between this and anything else I've done in the past, and why I've gotten a really good amount of signups, is because I took the time to slow down and put a strategy together and figure out what's the best way to reach these people. How much money do I want to spend to reach these people? What's the best way to talk to people? Who are the people who would most benefit from something like this? So
Right. That's awesome, because so many people, they want to rush through and put something together instead of taking the time to do the work, to figure out what is it that's needed, and then carefully orchestrate every single step of the way so it leads to the result that you want to achieve.
Exactly. And like I said, the first challenge I did back in October, I probably had maybe 90 people showed up. And that one I just kind of threw together. Now, actually, the first one I probably had 60. The second one was 90. So 60 people showed up. I had maybe 30 people participate. It was real low key. But like I said, I just threw it together. And I mean, night and day difference to have 60 people sign up for the first challenge that I didn't take the time to plan out properly and just threw together. And then this one that took me about 2 months to design and put the strategy together and market it properly. I have 250 people signed up. So, when you take the time and slow down, you're going to see more success. You're going to be more organized. And that, by the way, also takes off a lot of stress. I don't feel like I'm running around. I mean, literally, after we're done recording this, I'm immediately going live and doing my first live training. But I don't feel stressed at all because I know it's done. Everything's scheduled and done and pretty and ready for me to push a button and go live.
Oh, that's perfect. It makes all the difference in the world when you plan those things out.
It
So
really
when
does.
you were growing it, and you said you leverage Facebook ads, what was one of the ad types that you found most successful in terms of converting people into subscribing to opt in for it?
Video ads, by far, were the most. In fact, the best, I did two types of video ads. I did a regular recorded, I have a welcome video, like an invitation video that's on my landing page. And I use that for an ad. It's under a minute. I think it's like maybe a 40-second video. And then I did quite a few live videos, and it would basically just tease some of the content. So for instance, this is a email marketing bootcamp. I did something like, what is a lead funnel? And I did a live broadcast just kind of summarizing what is a lead funnel. And then I actually would use that video to go through the ad manager and boost it out to my ideal client. I did custom audiences, so I knew exactly the type of people I was targeting. And one of my favorite custom audiences, there were a couple I used, but one of my favorites is to do an audience, which is called a lookalike audience, based off of my current website traffic, as well as my current email list. So people who are already on my email list, I created something called a lookalike. So it's going to create an audience similar to people who are already showing interest in what I do. So that's been one of my favorite ways of targeting people. And then conversion ads are always really good as well.
Oh, excellent. And that's the key, is that you understood what it was going to take to get there, and you're embracing what's working in terms of video, because it's the most powerful thing out there in terms of exposing your brand and getting people to take action.
Absolutely. Video is huge. Out of everything that I do, and I did blogs, I'm doing a lot of guest podcasting, live broadcasting. I've done a couple of webinars in private groups, just getting out there. But the one that is definitely the best overall is live video, and then repurposing the live video into ads.
Right, and that's why I think people miss that opportunity. It's so easy to go live these days, but plan things out and decide if you're going to go live, turn the darn thing into an ad.
Oh my gosh, yeah, just repurpose it in general. I'll take one video and I might talk for 10 minutes and I can turn that into 5 different videos, and cut and paste, and I can put it on YouTube and I can put it on my website, on my blog. I can tweet it out. I could take like 1-minute clips from those videos, teasers, put it on Instagram. I could put them in my Facebook ads. There's so much you can do with live video. It's amazing. And it's been repurposing my content has been one of the powerhouse tools that I've been using to really get the word out about this boot camp.
Oh, excellent. And you have to do that when it comes down to, otherwise you miss out on opportunity, because so many people, they don't realize the power of repurposing. They just want to create new content and put it on every single platform. Why? There's no reason for it. I'm a fan of, if I do a Facebook Live, okay, I can take that, put it to YouTube. I can take that, put the same content, now it's a blog post with an embedded video, and so on and so on. Like, why not?
Exactly. You could strip the sound and turn it into a SoundCloud or a podcast or whatever. There's definitely a lot you can do with it. And I think a lot of people they get really stressed out about content because it's important to get fresh content out there. But the thing is you don't have to keep recreating the wheel. You probably already have a ton of content in your content library that you can repurpose right now and reuse. I'm all about recycling.
Right, exactly. It's so easy to do. And I tell people all the time, one of the easiest ways when you're stuck trying to think about what should you be talking about, Facebook gives you all the tools. You can look at trending topics. If you go to Twitter, you see conversations that are happening. Go to Reddit. So many places you can find so this is what's going on. I'll talk about that today. Real easy. There's never a shortage of being able to create content in today's world.
Yeah, exactly. There's tons out there. Tons to do.
Right, exactly. It all comes down to that. So now, as we begin to wind everything up here, what is one tip, one thing that you'd recommend people do when it comes to building their list in terms of email marketing?
Get a lead funnel set up, and they're actually really easy to set up. We're talking about repurposing your content. You can literally go out, find your most popular blog or a live video you did that was really popular, edit it out, turn it into an evergreen content. So turn it into a guide, a checklist, a downloadable, a recorded video that you basically can give out in exchange for someone's email address. And that is essentially what a lead funnel is. And then create an automated email sequence that allows you to, number one, deliver what it is they're looking for. So whatever your freemium is. Number 2 should be a follow-up after that, inviting them to connect with you further. And number 3, I'm a big fan of the 3-part email sequence. It allows you to ask, a single question like, where did you learn about this? Or what is your birthday? So we can send you, a birthday present or whatever. And that gives you a reason to keep connecting with them and keep your content or your contact engaged. And then what it also does, one of the reasons why these are so powerful is it leads people in based off of certain topics. Because if I have a lead magnet about lead magnets, then obviously anyone who signs up for that are interested in lead magnets. If I have a lead magnet, a guidebook on how to use Facebook ads, anyone who signs up for that's interested in Facebook ads. It helps me segment my list so that I can deliver more customized content, thus helping my open rates increase, my click-through rates increase, and my conversion rates, aka cha-ching, money, increase.
Right. And you mentioned something there which I think is really important, and that's for people to look at conversion rates more than anything else, because people tend to get stuck on, I had X number of video views and all these other things. Like, I don't care about any of that. I look at it as how many people did you convert into a client? That's what matters most.
Yep, let's convert them. But the only way you can really convert someone is to get them in your funnel, get them in your sphere. Right. And so the way the funnel works is, in fact, you know what, Byron, if you're interested, I'm happy to offer my free 1-page downloadable on actually explaining what a funnel is and how it works. I'll send it to you, and you can, give it to anyone you want. But basically it starts with, awareness. So how do we get awareness? We get it from social media, Facebook ads, search engine optimization, all the stuff that's out there, kind of broadcasting our message, bringing people in. And then you bring them into the funnel. They take on a lead magnet, an offer. You get them into your email system, and then you nurture them. And then after you nurture them and you bring value to them and you customize those messages, the conversion is easy. It's so much easier to convert a warm, happy fan than a cold, prospect out in the marketplace. Like, so much easier.
Oh, totally. That's the best way to do it. If I like to use dating examples, because you just don't walk up to someone and say, "Hey, your place or mine." You're actually going to go through a process to warm them up.
Exactly.
It's just what makes sense. Well, I want to thank you for coming on to the Big Movement podcast today, Kelly, and sharing your wealth of wisdom about marketing and social media and how people can truly leverage it. How can people reach out to you and learn more about what you do, and maybe they can be able to work with you even?
For sure. You can check out my website, stellarmediamarketing.com. And then I am kind of obsessed with Facebook, so you can reach out to me on Facebook. My personal Facebook is The Colorado Girl, even though I'm in California. Or my business is Stellar 24/7.
All right. Excellent. Well, I want to thank you once again for coming to the Big Movement podcast today.
Well, thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun chatting with you about, stuff I like to geek out on.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.